guys, this is the Ecron writer here, and this is my first time ever using OBS Studios, which is a program suggested by Fanfiction Dreamer, and this is my first time streaming one of my projects. So, I want to take this opportunity to present one of my one-shots for the F-Zero series. As you all know, I'm a huge fan of the F-Zero series, very underrated. And I wish Shigeru Miyamoto would just get off his high horse and focus on another game for the series. So this is one of my one-shots here, and it is PJ, the Empyrean Colonist, which, if you guys played F-Zero AX, you would notice it's one of the unlockable pilots there. And PJ pilots the Groovy Taxi, which is actually a homage to another Sega game, Crazy Taxi, which I'll admit it's subpar compared to Simpsons Road Rage. So, without further ado, let's get this started, shall we? Hold on, just give me a minute. Here we go. And here's my fanfic right here, PJ the Empyrean Colonist. I came up with this idea a few days ago, while wondering how the series should move forward from GP Legend Climax since they should share one timeline, which I don't like the alternate continuity of F-Zero GP Legend, so I tend to make it all one timeline. You'll see some references from a couple different games aside from those, so here goes. It was a balmy late summer afternoon, and Rink and Tinsel were walking along the sidewalks in Mute City arm in arm. As the couple were returning to the Dragonbird EX, they found a skinny alien with cream-colored skin, white-black eyes that could cast a reflection, green gloves, and a long orange-yellow uniform with black and white checkered patterns on it. He was squirting and scrubbing the vehicle's windshield. Rick immediately marched up to it. "Hey, what are you doing? I just got this machine cleans on account of the rain and You should have asked first. It's all streaky." "All clear, sir." The extraterrestrial withdrew the small spritzer bottle and held out a hand, begging for money. Oh, I just have a debit card on me. I don't have any cash at the moment," he said as he dug through his wallet in his pocket. He sulked a little. "Oh, that's all right. No charge." He waddled away, his bare feet brushing the rough city pavement. Looking at the poor state he was in, Tinsel muttered how sorry she felt for him. Rick paused for a moment, then he brightened as he offered. "Oh, you hungry, fella?" The stranger pricked up at the couple. "You should come to the Falcon House. Bert makes this sweet coffee out of this world," he explained. That made him change his mind when he smiled. "Come on, we'll take you to him." "All right, sounds neat, but I have a little cabbie of my own." The alien pointed to a hovering taxi that had the same coating and patterns as his uniform. He followed close behind the Dragonbird toward the place where the Mentor owned. A diner and apartment complex dedicated to the late Captain Falcon, as well as Rick following his legacy. Inside, the janitor, the mighty Gazelle, was cleansing the tile floors with a tall steam cleaner, while Clank was hunkered over his own tablet. Like I said, if you've seen GP Legend, the anime, you'll know who Clank is. Bert greeted the trio, and Rink introduced them to the unfortunate newcomer. He acquainted himself as PJ, though he'd much rather prefer his initials than his full name since it was difficult for certain life forms to pronounce. He described himself as a 35-year-old inhabitant of the Empyrean Colony, one of the best cabbies in the galaxy who worked for Galaxy Cab, a taxi service that traveled from planet to planet across the universe. He was the highest fare earner of all, and was well renowned for his skills driving. However, he bashfully said he has never followed any traffic laws well. I hate these errors. Rick grimaced a bit at the statement. As a result, PJ would often get involved in high-speed chases with the Galactic Federation on his tail, but he bragged that he always managed to get away from them. He considers his worst passengers to be either drunks or couples who could never get their hands off each other. For once, they can relate to that. I really hate having some paradise by the dashboard light, Tinsel remarked. Especially when someone is trying to be your chaperone, Rick added. Drunks could also be the worst company. Spoken like a true cop, Rick. Bert admired his past experience. Due to being the best cabbie in the galaxy, PJ got into a fight when he demanded an increase in wages, as well as a larger taxicab to accompany passengers who were up to 30 feet tall. Whoa! Why would you want that? Tinsel wondered in shock. Oh, sometimes I come across passengers that can be as tall as a tree. You should see these guys on the interplanetary basketball team, he snickered. The pair looked at each other skeptically. Then PJ's face became somber as he resisted a laugh. Because of his disobedience, as well as the company never meeting his requests, he ended up getting suspended from his job, leaving him without a steady income nor anything for his beloved groovy taxi to do. However, when he spotted an article about the F-Zero Grand Prix, he decided to retool it into an F-Zero machine and enter the competition. Alas, he never had the chance since Dark Million took over. They were always overbooked. Despite the suspension, he still does some practice races now and again as a way to represent the company to the extent of advertising their services and wearing his cabbie uniform. I'm very sorry, PJ. Rick's voice softened. He sighed. If only I could go back to my home world, the Empyrean Colony. I wish it hadn't been destroyed. That made the two pilots startle. They'd never been to the place, but the task force informed them not too long ago. There was a news break that seemed never-ending as they beheld the site. His home city was demolished during one of his interplanetary travels as a train ambushed by mechanical gunmen had a bomb that detonated when it reached the city. The colony was so overpopulated that humans hardly settled there, though one of the females sacrificed herself on impact while four merely escaped. There were massive casualties and about half the metropolis stood. The Galactic Federation believed it to be a form of terrorism. Through his tablet, Clank gave them the intel. The Empyrean Colony had real estate companies and government officials beginning to recruit space colonists to search for a place to develop a project known as the Empyrean Colony, which consisted on a floating city and would resolve two more problems: the lack of living places and the overgrowing interstellar population, even for humans. After spending great amounts of money, a planet was finally chosen to house this project. But after years of trials and errors, especially those made by Dark Million, it barely did improve all the tests, discouraging everyone to continue researching, which was fortunate since the mean inhabitants found them meddling and intrusive. PJ hung his head as he recalled the incident. He was close to tears since he, his groovy taxi, and his world were really down on their luck. He felt he was the few lucky survivors from that massive explosion, and he couldn't believe that paradise was lost to him as well as countless other life forms. With Tinsel taken aback by the story, Rick laid an assuring hand on PJ's shoulder. I can understand that. I remember losing everything I had after I slept for 150 years. But my friends and my true love helped me through. Hey, we can help you find a way to get you back on your feet. Tinsel and I can relate since we have allies trying to rebuild their lives. Leon and Octaman, she murmured. They're part of the elite mobile task force, and so are they. Clank pointed the pair out. Speaking of which, Clank is starting a prestigious school year in the fall, said Bert. Roy and I helped enroll him in an academy specialized for advanced technology. A lot of promising children will be there, including his close friend, Alias. There were also some people who were interested in F-Zero racing. Bert listed them off as Mickey Marcus, Megan Violet, Jane B. Christie, Alexander O'Neill, Blitz Wagner, Terry Getter, and the place will be run by Professor Yazoo. The location is in uptown Mute City, but there's also an academy located further south in Bianca City as well. Clank felt relieved he didn't have to move there. If you guys have played F-Zero Maximum Velocity, which is my least favorite game in the series, you would know. I am so stoked! He beamed with excitement. But I need to study hard so I can get ahead of my classmates. Well, why don't you do that while Rick and Tinsel take care of PJ? Have you found him a place to stay temporarily? I know just the place, he remarked. He offered PJ to settle at the same apartment complex both he and Tinsel shared. Since the flat was unoccupied when she decided to move into Rick's room, she thought it'd be perfect for him and his groovy taxi. It was obviously the only thing he had close to home after the large explosion. They volunteered to assist PJ however they can, including re-enlisting him as a cabbie driver for the Galaxy Cab, as well as demonstrate his aspiring racing skills. Although Rick sternly mentioned that he'll keep a sharp eye on him to make sure he doesn't get reckless on the roads, unless PJ would challenge him to a friendly race. And as you can see, unlike fanfiction Dreamer, I actually have author notes. I really like that cute alien PJ. He should have more of a backstory, especially that area I've mentioned. I'm not a huge fan of Maximum Velocity, but the Empyrean Colony is one of my favorite circuits next to Cinnabaz, Ancient Mesa, Cloud Carpet, Tenson East, and Beaconport. Since they're nearly similar, I guess as far as looks go, I've decided to put two and two together. I wish Miyamoto would put more innovation and development into representing different worlds and pilots, which he sorely lacks as of late. Ugh, no wonder people call him the Japanese George Lucas. I really want to look forward to the intel provided for those tracks on where they can be located and how they were created, as well as Rumpus, Greenplant, and others. Also, this was a brief excerpt from the underrated action flick Sucker Punch. The location of Baby Doll's last fantasy sequence where Rocket sacrificed herself for her sis's freedom. I figured that place looks so similar to the colony itself. So Rick and Tinsel met the adorable taxicab driver. I can't help but feel sorry for little PJ. He and the circuit should be identified more and work hand in hand. Since ending and all in GP Legend are done, I'm not sure how to move the series forward. He said that Maximum Velocity takes place 25 years after the original, and I've been adding GP Legend to the main timeline, yet it's my least favorite aside from X. I haven't really played X that much, but I was really disappointed with the graphics. I can't be sure how I can move the series forward from here, so maybe PJ in the Empyrean Colony was probably a stunt. I wish I had the chance to beat the last chapter in very hard mode in order to unlock him. I probably would have done it. As you can see, I've already done ending it all, but hopefully I'll present that fic in the future. So yeah, there you have it. My first ever OBS broadcast of one of my F-Zero one-shots. So, this is the Ecron Writer signing out for now. Hopefully it'll be a good practice run, and hopefully I'll get more familiar with this broadcasting program in the future. So, until then, this is the Ecron Writer signing off. Ciao.